Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. Got a brand new brand on the bar. Let's get into it. So tonight on the bar, I've got, bam, this is 3 Chord finished in Pinot Noir barrels. So I said in the intro that this is a brand new brand. It may not be brand new to you, but it is to me because they don't sell this in Minnesota. I was in Michigan a couple weekends ago and saw this on the shelf, so I figured, why not give it a shot? I've actually heard a decent amount of stuff about it and I've always wanted to try it. So this one is actually a straight bourbon whiskey finished in Pinot Noir barrels. This is from musician Neil Giraldo, and apparently it is distilled in Kentucky and perfectly tuned in Michigan. So, Michigan brand, this is 99 proof. So, beyond what I just read to you, I don't know a damn thing about this brand. I just know I've seen, pictures of it and heard about it, but I haven't really, ever explored any of their expressions before, so. On the nose, it's got a nice nose. Definitely notice the wine finish for sure. It's almost like a grapey sort of vibe to it. That could be power of suggestion since I know it was wine finish, but I really feel like you could probably guess that this one is finished, even if you didn't know it. Decent amount of aroma on the nose for 99 proof. I mean, you're getting 99 proof is, it's a good proof point. Some nice caramels, a little bit of, in a strange way, a little bit of peanut butter. What's weird is I had, the last time I had an Angel's Envy single barrel, I believe that one was port finished, but I got a little bit of a peanut butter note on that too, and it kind of made for like a peanut butter and jelly vibe, and I'm getting that a little bit on this one as well. Kind of a little bit of a nutty note on the nose. Well, let's get into the palate, see what happens. Cheers. So this is my first sip of bourbon of the day. And I gotta tell you, on that very first sip, I did not get a whole lot. Came across very flat and thin. But again, first sip of bourbon of the day. You can't always judge a whiskey on the first sip you take of it because, you gotta give it a couple of tries here. But yeah, I got some basic bourbon notes off of that first sip, but honestly, not a ton. Definitely not 100 or 99 proof worth of flavor. Let's go in for the second sip here because I feel like that first one wasn't a fair shot. Am I sure I have the proof right on this? Yeah, 99 proof. I'm just having an experience here where this is drinking well under its proof point. You could almost convince me that this is sub 90. I'm just not getting a ton of bold flavor off of this one at all. The flavors that are there are kind of the similar ones from the nose. Has a little bit of a little peanut butter and jelly vibe, but it's got some caramels and it's got some, just kind of standard bourbon flavors, but these really just feel like they're turned down a lot. I'm just, for whatever reason, I'm just getting a much lower flavor level than it should be, I think, at 99 proof. Doesn't say anything about the age on this, so I wonder if maybe it's just a lower age bourbon. Let me read off the back here what it says. I didn't read any flavor notes before doing this, but it does have some. Complex red fruit on the nose, cherry, currant, fresh strawberries and raspberries. I got more of a grapey sort of, like a purple grape sort of vibe, but I could see maybe some crossover between like the fruit notes. Flavor starts with notes of Pinot Noir, definitely got that, followed by oak, spice, and vanilla. Not getting a ton of oak and spice. I'm just not getting a ton of age on this one. Has a little bit on the nose, a little bit of that musty vibe that you get off of a finished bourbon, or at least that I get off of one. And that's not in a bad way. Sometimes like a musty note on a bourbon comes from like maybe like a pot still or a youthy one. I sometimes tend to get a musty sort of note. When I get it off of a wine finished bourbon, it's more, maybe musty is a bad word, but it kind of has like an old note to it. You just, I don't know, picture the old wine barrel, I guess. And again, some of that could be power of suggestion. Let's have another sip here and see what we can pull out of this one. So the flavors on this are actually pretty good, but I'm shocked by how well below the 99 proof this seems to be drinking. It's very smooth, and that a lot of times is not a great thing in a bourbon, but I will say this, for the $45 I paid for it, this might make a good gift whiskey for, I think this is a beginner's whiskey. The proof, the alcohol bite is lower than the 100 proof, and that's a good thing, especially if you're new to bourbon. Unfortunately, I feel like the flavors are a little bit less than the proof point would suggest, but I think that this one has, how do I explain this? It's smooth in ethanol, but it still has decent enough flavors where I think, again, this would make a good kind of entry into finished bourbon for a beginner, where the proof point isn't overwhelming, but the flavors are there. They're just, for my particular preference as far as a proof level, they're coming across a little low. And I like a good 100 proof, again, this is 99, close enough. 100 proof bourbon, I think that's a great proof point, but this one is drinking below that. And so I think that, again, yeah, this just, I don't know what's causing it to do that. I know sometimes when you finish a bourbon and give it that extra barreling, sometimes that kind of smooths out some of the edges. Not always, but sometimes. I feel like that's the case in this one. So it's not that I don't like this. There's nothing bad about it. It just is very muted, in my opinion, for what the proof point is. And that's why I say, I mean, this might be a really good gift whiskey for a new beginner bourbon drinker that maybe doesn't want to go out and spend 45 to 50 bucks on a bottle that they don't know anything about. And so that's where it kind of loses me. But again, new bourbon drinker, if you're watching this video and you're kind of new to stuff, you might like this. And this certainly might be a good, again, kind of entry into finished bourbons, because you do get the good kind of wine finish notes off of this one. It does have that. So take that for what it is. But for an experienced bourbon drinker that likes something around the 100 proof point, this is, to me, again, just drinking below that. Maybe it's because it's my first whiskey of the day, but sometimes the first whiskey of the day is actually a little more of a punch in the face. And so the fact that this one's drinking as flat as it is kind of makes me think that this one maybe just drinks a little bit flat. But let me know in the comments if you've had this one, if you've had any other expressions from 3 Chord. This, by the way, is not going to make me shy away from buying more 3 Chord products. I will still explore this brand because I think they're definitely on to something. I think maybe this one just, for whatever reason, came out a little flat at the proof point. So anyway, this has been 3 Chord straight bourbon whiskey finished in Pinot Noir cask. On the bourbon note, I'm Ben. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next one.